Good morning, everyone. This is fourth lecture of engineering mechanics. During the last lecture, we were discussing about some of the prerequisite for this subject. So we have seen the concept of force, then Newton's laws of motion. So Newton's first law, second law, and third law. After that, we have seen the difference between the accelerated motion and the motion with the constant velocity. Today, we will see some of the basic unit required for the engineering mechanics. Okay. So before that, one student asked doubt in the last lecture. So in the Newton's second law, we write the equation F is equal to mass into acceleration. Okay. But from the definition, we actually get the equation mass into acceleration is directly proportional to the force value. Okay. But we convert the proportionality into equality sign by adding one constant, and that constant, it has a value 1 from the graph. Okay. So in the last lecture, I have directly taken the value mass into acceleration upon F is equal to tan 45. That is equal to 1. And then we write F is equal to mass into acceleration. Okay. So I will repeat that part for the Newton's second law, and then we will discuss about the basic units. Okay, so this is the Newton's second law experiment. So this is just an animation. So when the semester will start, we will actually conduct this experiment and we will try to prove F is equal to mass into acceleration. Okay. So here we have selected 2 points. So this is the starting point. Now this mass, it is resting on this wooden surface or wooden table. This mass, it is connected to another mass that is called as a dead weight with the help of this string, and this string is passing over this pulley. Okay, so this pulley is frictionless. So this dead weight is nothing but the external force F. Okay, so here we can change the weight and we can change the value of force. Just imagine initially we have selected the dead weight as a 1 kg. Okay, so force value, it will become 1 into 9.81, that is equal to 10 Newton. Okay, so this 10 Newton, it will get transmitted to this mass. Okay, so this force, it will act directly on the mass at this point where this string is connected. So it is the same force that is equal to 10 Newton. So in the Newton's second law experiment, our aim is we have to prove the external force which acts on the mass, this is equal to mass into acceleration. Okay, actually from the Newton's second law, if you refer this statement, then this mass into acceleration is directly proportional to the external force. There is no equality sign in this Newton's second law statement. So we convert this proportionality into equality sign. Okay, so when we convert this proportionality into equality, we should add some constant. So this is simple mathematics rule. So K into mass into acceleration. Okay, so this K value we have to find out by performing this experiment. Okay, so this K value from the experiment, we expect it is 1, and then we can write this equation F is equal to mass into acceleration. Okay, so for that, this is the experiment setup. There is one mass M. Okay, this mass, it is connected with this string, and one dead weight is connected to the string. Okay, so initially I will select the dead weight as a 1 kg. So the corresponding force value, it is F is equal to 10 Newton. Okay, because 1 into 9.81, approximately it is 10 Newton. Okay, So this F force, because of the dead weight, it will get transmitted from this string up to this mass. Okay. So the same force F, it will act at this point. So this is the external force 10 Newton. Now we know that when we apply the force on any object, the object will immediately get the acceleration. Okay. So this object, it will start the motion in this direction, in the direction of the force. Okay. Now this motion, it will have some acceleration. Okay. So this acceleration we can find out by measuring the velocity. So initial velocity is known as it is at rest. That means initial velocity is 0. So consider this point as a point 1. Okay. At the second point, we will connect one sensor. Okay. So this sensor, it will directly give the value at this point. So we will take this value as a V2. So we can take this V1. Okay. So this acceleration we can find out by this equation, V2 minus V1 upon T2 minus T1. So initial time is 0. Just we have to record the time from point 1 up to point 2. And then we will get some value of acceleration in terms of meter per second square. Okay. So actually, by connecting this sensor, we can measure the value V2. Okay. So manually, it is quite difficult to measure this value, and therefore we have to connect one sensor. Now we can observe here, when we apply the force F is equal to 10 Newton, you can observe the motion. So this is called as the accelerated motion. Okay. In the animation, it appears as it is a constant velocity. Okay. But physically, it is not a constant velocity motion. It is called as an accelerated motion. Okay. So at this point, we will get some velocity, that is a V2. Okay. And then by using this formula, V2 minus V1 upon T2 minus T1, we can find out the acceleration. Okay. After that, we can repeat the experiment for different dead weight. So initially, just I have selected 1 kg. So we are applying 10 Newton. Okay. If I select 2 kg, so that will become 20 Newton. 3 kg, it will become 30 Newton. So this is actual approximate value. Actually, we should multiply this by 9.81. Okay. So we approximate 9.81 to 10 meter per second square. So similarly, we can repeat the experiment maybe for 5 to 6 readings. And for each value of force, for 10, 20, 30, we have to find out the acceleration. Okay. So this is A1, A2, A3, we will get different value. As we increase the force, definitely there will be increase in the acceleration. Then we should plot the graph. So here you can observe on the y-axis, we will take the value of mass into acceleration. Okay. On the x-axis, take the value of external force or force because of the dead weight. Okay. So this is the origin. Then first value is 10 Newton, 20, 30, 40, 50, so on. Okay. So you can prepare the observation table like this. This is external force. Then mass is constant. You can select the object of any mass. So directly you find out this value, or you can find out the acceleration and then find out this value, mass into acceleration. Okay, so first we have selected 10 Newton, then 20, 30, 40, so on. For each value, you will get some acceleration. So I will just write this as a A1, A2, A3, A4. Okay, and then find out this product. So if you perform the experiment very accurately, then this mass into acceleration, this value, it will be close to the external force. Theoretically, it should be equal to force. So you will get this value as a 10, this is 20, this is 30, this is 40, so on. Okay. And then you plot this mass into acceleration value on the y-axis. So for the first value, force is 10, corresponding value for mass into acceleration 10. So first point, force is 10 Newton and mass into acceleration is also 10 Newton. So this is the first value. Second value, for 20 Newton, you will get the 20 value. This is third, fourth, fifth, and so on. Okay. And then you can connect all these points. So this graph or nature of this graph, it will be a straight line. Okay. And if you measure this angle with respect to x-axis, so this theta, this will be equal to 45 degree. Okay. So whenever you find out the equation of line, so equation of line, its general equation, y is equal to mx plus c. Okay, where m is the slope. Don't get confused with this m and this m. This is a mass. Okay, so I will take this capital M. M is the slope into x plus c. C is the y-intercept. Okay, so here this line is exactly passing through the origin. So the c value, that is a y-intercept, it is directly 0. So your equation will be y is equal to slope into x. Now this slope value from the graph, this is a tan theta, that is nothing but the slope. Okay, so you must have studied these equations in the 11th or 12th mathematics. So tan 45, this value is 1. Okay, so you get y, this is equal to x. Okay, so this is the equation of line. Now what is meaning of y? Y is nothing but mass into acceleration. Okay, and your x value is nothing but the force. And therefore we get F is equal to mass into acceleration. Okay. The second method to find out this equation, F is equal to mass into acceleration, is nothing but you find out this slope. Okay. So this slope is nothing but the difference. Okay, on the y-axis. So we can take this as a d, mass into acceleration. This difference is nothing but difference in the force value. So we can take this as a df. Okay. So what is the slope? So slope, this is equal to tan theta, and that is equal to dma upon df. Okay, so this is the slope equation. So tan theta means tan 45, and therefore it is 1. Okay. Now from this equation, so I will write here same equation dma. Just I will shift this term df on the left hand side. So this is equal to df. Okay, into 1. So you can cancel out this differentiation. Just you have to integrate this both the sides. Okay. So if you know the limit of this integration, then you will get this value as mass into acceleration. This is equal to, just you can cancel out the differentiation. So it is a f. Okay. So by this method, you will get the same equation. F is equal to mass into acceleration. Okay. So this is how you can prove the proportionality constant in this equation, which is a mass into acceleration, is proportional to the f. So this constant, it is nothing but the 1 value, and therefore we write the Newton's second law as F is equal to mass into acceleration. Okay, so I hope you have understood this concept of Newton's second law and how you can prove this equation by performing a physical experiment. So this is your physical experiment. You should connect one dead weight as external force. You have to take one mass or object, okay, and just you have to measure the change in the velocity, so you will get the acceleration. Okay, so actually this motion of this mass or this dead weight, okay, so it will continue for the infinite time, okay, because as long as we apply the force, the object will remain in the accelerated motion. Okay, so just the object, it is at rest because I have connected one stopper. Okay, so if I remove this stopper, again mass will start its motion towards the right side. So in the last lecture, we have seen some of the prerequisite in that force, Newton's law, then accelerated motion, constant velocity motion. Today we will see some of the basic unit that are required for this subject. So if you want, you can take this screenshot for this slide. So I have written here 10 quantities, their formula and the unit. So all the unit, they are in the SI system. So first is the force. Its equation is mass into acceleration, and its unit is kg meter per second square, or it is a Newton. Okay. Second is the velocity. So equation is displacement upon time. So unit is meter per second. Then acceleration. So its formula A is equal to change in velocity upon change in time. So unit is meter per second square. Okay, so actually it is meter per second upon time. So meter per second upon second. So it becomes meter per second square. Momentum, it is represented by P, and it is equal to mass into velocity. So it is kg meter per second. Then energy, kinetic energy or potential energy. So kinetic energy equation is 1/2 mv square, and the potential energy, it is equal to mg into h. So unit is Newton meter, or it is joule. Then power, so formula is work done upon time. So we measure the work done in joule or Newton meter, and time in second. So it is joule per second, or it is a watt. Then angular speed, so it is represented by omega, and it is equal to 2 pi n upon 60. Okay, so here n, so this is RPM. Okay, this is revolution per minute. If it is given as a RPS, revolution per second, then we have to just write down this one, 2 pi n. Do not divide by 60 if it is RPS. And unit is, for angular speed, is a radian per second. Then torque, its formula is force into perpendicular distance, d. So unit, this is Newton meter. Pressure, P is equal to force upon area. So it becomes Newton per meter square, or this is Pascal. Okay. Then relation between a linear velocity and the angular velocity in the circular motion. That means if object is moving in a circular path, then it will have some linear velocity which is tangential to the circular path. And suppose this is the radius of that circular path. Okay. So its angular velocity omega, and v is the linear velocity. So that relation is v is equal to r into omega. Okay. And unit is same. For linear velocity, it is meter per second. Or we can write omega is equal to v upon r. Okay. So these are some basic units. So now we will start with the module 1. So your entire syllabus for engineering mechanics is totally rigid body mechanics. Okay. The meaning of rigid body mechanics is whenever we will consider any body for force analysis or for the motion analysis, we will assume that body or object is rigid. Okay, that means if you apply the force on an object, then distance between any 2 points will not change on the application of force. That is called as a rigid body. Okay, so here one structure is shown. So this is the molecular structure. Okay, and we apply the force. We try to compress this object by applying the forces. Okay, but effect will be when we apply the force on the rigid body, then distance between any 2 points will not change. Okay, so we cannot compress this body even if you apply the pull forces. Still we cannot change the distance between any 2 points. So that is called as a rigid body. So its shape and the size will remain same before application of force and after application of force. And the deformable body means when you apply the force, okay, so its shape and size, it will change. Okay, so generally the rubber is considered as a deformable body. Okay, in the universe, all the bodies, they are deformable. Okay, that means when we apply the force on any object in the universe, there will be some deformation. Okay, but for some objects, even there is a deformation, we consider that object as a rigid. Okay, so you can take the example of a stone. Okay, on this stone, if you apply the force, then you cannot see the deformation. Okay, but there is a deformation, and that deformation is very small. So just by naked eyes, we cannot observe that deformation. Okay, and therefore we consider this stone as a rigid body. But there is no body which is perfectly rigid in the universe. Okay, so your module 1. So in that we will learn the system of coplanar forces, resultant and centroid. So this is the content in the section 1.1. So in the section 1.1, you will learn the system of forces, then principle of transmissibility, and resolution and composition of forces. In section 1.2, we will calculate the resultant. So it is the resultant calculation, then resultant of coplanar and non-coplanar system. So non-coplanar system, this is also called as a space forces. So space forces means forces in a 3-dimensional space. And then we will study the moment and couple and distributed force system. So in the distributed force system, we will study what is meaning of a UDL and the UVL. So UDL means it is a uniformly distributed load, and UVL, it is a uniformly varying load. And in the section 1.3, you will study the centroid. So centroid calculation of composite laminas. So this is your overall content of the module 1. Okay, so what is meaning of system of forces? So the system of forces is collection of forces and couples acting on an object. So system of forces, in a simple language, we can say it is the term used to describe the group of forces. So if you have a single force, so we have one object of mass m, and we apply a single force. Okay, so we cannot say this is the system of forces. because there is only one force in that on that mass. But for the system of forces, there has to be group of forces. So if you have more than one forces, then we can say it is the system of forces. So in the example, so there is one mass or object having the mass m. Okay. So the force on that object will be the force because of the gravity. Okay. So F is equal to W. So this is equal to mass into gravitational acceleration, that is a mg. Now, if you apply a force on that mass, and if you try to move that object on this horizontal surface, okay, so here you can observe the system of forces. So this first force, so this is the external force we are applying to pull the object on the right side. So we expect object should move in this direction. Then there is a second force due to gravity. It is the weight force. So this is equal to mg. As this object, it is kept on this horizontal surface, this surface will offer the reaction. So this is the reaction. So this reaction is nothing but the normal reaction. So it is perpendicular to the contact surface. Okay. Next force, we have applied two external forces. One is F is equal to 2 Newton, which is acted in the inclined direction. Suppose this angle, it is 30 degree. Okay. And there is another force, which is 10 Newton in the rightward direction. Okay. So when this object try to move on the right side, this surface will offer the frictional force. So this frictional force will try to oppose or the resist the motion in the rightward direction. Okay. So at this contact, this is the frictional force. So this is a Fr. Okay. So if you observe this complete system, then there are total 5 forces. Okay. And this is called as a system of forces. So the group of forces is nothing but the system of forces. So another example here. So two students, they are sitting on one bench. So each student will have some weight. So one is a 50 kg and second is the 60 kg. Okay. So this weight, it should be supported by this bench. So the bench will offer the reactions. Okay. So these reactions will act at these two supports. So first is R1 and second is the R2. Now the system of forces is classified into two major categories. One is the coplanar forces or coplanar system, and second is the non-coplanar, or this is called as the space forces. So meaning of space forces is it is in 3 dimensions. Okay, and coplanar force system is nothing but the 2-dimensional force system. Okay, so if you observe this screen and if I draw one vector, so if I draw these 2 vectors, okay, so these 2 vectors, they are lying in the plane of the screen. Okay, therefore it is a 2-dimensional force system. Now the coplanar force system is again classified as concurrent force system, parallel force system, and general force system. Okay, so meaning of general force system. So here parallel force system. So you can understand this with the help of the name. Parallel means forces must be parallel to each other. Okay. General force system, this is called as a non-concurrent and non-parallel. This is called as a general force system. Okay. So afterwards, I will explain in detail what is the meaning of concurrent, parallel, general force system. In the non-coplanar system, again, we have similar classification. So concurrent, parallel, and general force system. So this is the classification of system of forces. So what is the meaning of coplanar forces? If all the forces are acting in a single plane, okay, it is called as a coplanar force system. So if I select one plane, so this is the plane. And three forces, they are acting in this plane: F1, F2, and F3. Okay. So all these forces, they are lying in this plane only. So this is called as a coplanar force system. So physically, we can observe this system. So here I have shown two examples. In the first example, so one rock, so this rock is pulled by 4 persons, okay, with the help of the cable, okay. So each cable will have the tension. So I will write here T1, this is T2, this is T3, and this is T4, okay. So all these forces, they are lying in the horizontal plane, okay. So if you draw one plane, so this is one horizontal plane. So